Before you can be a writer, you'll need to think like a writer. And this means every time you pick up a book or watch a movie or sitcom, you need to read and watch like a writer. You need to be able to evaluate what is working and what is not working. And you should be able to determine what is making it work or what is the reason it's not working. The better you become at this, the better writer you'll become. When you read and or watch a good story, you need to recognize why it did work, and that will tell you why other stories don't work. This can entail picking up genres you don't particularly read or write. The point is that you need to stop thinking of what you want to write and focus on what people want to read. This is finding your audience. You need to know why people are reading what they are reading. And whenever you read anything that is popular, it's your job to figure out what it is that readers find appealing about this work. When you read a book or watch a movie, look at the way the story is set up. Figure out what the central conflict is. What is appealing about the characters? You'll note that their frailties are a central part of the story many times. What are the characters' frailties? Why do women find the heroine appealing? Nobody likes a perfect person. Remember Erin Brockovich? She was so easy to like because she was so down on her luck, and in spite of her beauty, she found herself in the kind of situations lots of women get themselves into. We all wanted to cheer for her because of her imperfections. In a story, figure out what the motivations of the characters are. What do they want? Do they want justice? Do they want understanding? Now figure out how you can make a character with their imperfections and motivations. Get involved with other authors. Find out how to improve your writing by constantly refreshing your knowledge on what writing is. I have found that many of the articles on how to write screenplays are very good, and many times better than the articles on writing novels. I'm not going to give you any websites, because where the good articles are changes all the time. Just get out there on Google and look for articles on conflict. You'll have to have a handle on creating good conflict. Quite often conflict is called GMC, for goal, motivation, and conflict. You'll need to read about setting up sexual tension, plotting and story structure, learning as much as you can about this. There are lots of books on plotting, and you'll find out nobody does it the same. Read about creating better characters and how to write dialogue. What I'm trying to say here is, don't just go with what one person says. Keep learning and keep listening. And I believe you shouldn't just confine yourself to learning how to write romance. Why? Because every good story has a little bit of suspense in it, a little bit of mystery, and possibly even a little bit of horror. Go out and find out how other writers are resolving the very same issue. And one good way to do this is to read a lot of books. I hope that by now you have read some of my novels, and that you are able to determine why they got published. That is what I did right, and also maybe what I did wrong. Dreams of Chimborazo is set in my hometown of Richmond, Virginia. This book, so far, has been my biggest seller. It's a time travel set in 1864 Richmond and in current-day Richmond. The heroine is a genealogist who has restored an old home very close to where the Confederate hospital called Chimborazo used to stand. The hero is a captain in the Confederate Army who has been wounded during battle and is therefore spending time in Chimborazo. His name is Ravenel Morrison, and he's a French Huguenot. I loved writing about his culture because it gave me a chance to write about my own family's heritage. Irina and her crew are the last survivors of the planet Earth. Earth has been destroyed by its inhabitants who polluted and waged nuclear war so much that the planet became uninhabitable. Eventually she meets Ken, who is human, but comes from another, more advanced civilization. It was a fun book to write, but it also made me a little sad because I think we may be headed in the same direction. Raquel's Abel is a story about a girl who weighs over 300 pounds. That, however, hasn't stopped her from becoming a very accomplished ballroom dancer. She's about to have gastric bypass surgery when a ghost, who's been living in her house, makes himself known and forbids her to have the surgery. His name is Abel Rollins, and he's haunted her house for years, and he's always been madly in love with her, and he likes her just the way she is. Keep an eye out for Jade Seas. It's a story about an art dealer and a swashbuckling pirate.